Welcome to TopStock Live, brought to you by FitAge. The Warriors fantastic at Chase Center. They go on the road. Something happens. This is Warriors insider Monte Poole. I'm Kerith Burke. So Monte, we're in the team store for the last TopStock. We just watched the Warriors beat the Bucks. They beat the Suns. I said, Monte, I have a feeling things will be different when they go on the road this time. I was wrong. All right, what do you point to as some of the biggest issues in this loss tonight?
They shot the ball so well. When you shoot 55% from the field, 47 from three, the other things have to break down. They have to break down really terribly, and they did. Free throws, 32-15 attempts. Second chance points, 27 for the Clippers, 11 for the Warriors.
There you go.
Points off turnovers, 20 for the Clippers, 11 for the Warriors. And 14-6. That was the Clippers' rebounding edge in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Through three quarters, the Warriors were hanging with them on the glass. I mean, they're pretty close. But the fourth quarter of a game like this is where you win the game. The Clippers took the game in the fourth quarter, and the Warriors had 6 rebounds in the quarter. It's hard to win a game on the road when you get 6 rebounds in the entire quarter. And so there's just so many things that conspired against them that just kind of left them to where they're shooting in Steph's great night, all for naught. Yeah,
some of the conspiring was their own fault. So we got to break this down a little bit too.
Okay,
Second quarter turnovers, 12. You go into the third quarter, the fouling becomes the problem. The Clippers on the free throw line, 10 of 12. No free throws for the Warriors in that third quarter. And then to start the fourth quarter, there was a 10-4 Clippers burst, and that started when Steph Curry was on the bench. Speaking of Steph Curry, 50 points in this game. That was in 39 minutes. He had his third quarter explosion. Monte, I was actually looking at the play-by-play for this, okay? He had 9 buckets in the third quarter. Not one of them had an assist from a teammate, okay? And I'm not gonna call, this isn't selfish to me. This is Steph doing what he needs to do to drag his team to a victory. Sometimes I like those games where Steph Curry takes over. In fact, I really like those games where Steph Curry takes over. But I thought that was interesting. He tried to do it all by himself right there, and it was almost like he needed to.
Yeah, he kind of had to if they were going to try and stay in this game. And he had to do that to stay in the game. He wasn't able to give him a lead. Just stay in the game, But yeah, to have 9 unassisted field goals in one quarter, I mean, that's some one-man stuff, but he didn't have an option. He didn't have a choice. If it was going to get done, he had to do it. And there wasn't a whole lot of help aside from that. So you look at the other guys, and, nobody shot the ball great. I mean, Jamaica was 2 of 2. J.K. was 4 of 5 off the bench. Numbers okay statistically, but look at J.K. He played 19 minutes. He had 0 rebounds. And I realized.
They've talked to him about that.
Yeah, and I realized that he's guarding perimeter players, which takes you out of the rebounding position a lot of times. But on the other end, he should be a brilliant offensive rebounder. I mean, he's built for that, and he didn't get a single rebound tonight. Meanwhile, the Clippers had 16 offensive rebounders, 4 by Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
And a couple of those really hurt the Warriors.
Yeah, he was flying around all over the place. He was being pesky. Steph took 28 shots, fine. He had 8 3-pointers, amazing. Steph Curry, 50 points. Actually, we got to show you a little something about his 50-point games right now, because of course he's moving up on the stats list. 7 games of 50-plus after age 30. Who is his company here? Wilt Chamberlain, Michael Jordan. There's Steph tied with Wilt for 7. So yeah, GOAT territory. Indeed, I saw a funny tweet that said Steph Curry's averaging 50 points per game at age 35. I thought that was pretty funny. Steph, go ahead.
I think, Wilt Chamberlain, was one of the best scorers in NBA history, 100-point game and all, 50 points in average in a season. But Steph's going to pass that record. He's going to have another 50-point game, and probably
another 50-point game this season.
Yeah, another one. I mean, that's who he is. So that's another record that will be in his pocket before he retires.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday, Steph. The 9th straight road loss for the Warriors. You heard a little bit of his podium sound in the postgame show, but we have some bonus sound for you now.
Woo!
Like the ultimate tease, like we're good enough, to win, beat whoever at home, and we had some self-inflicted wounds on the road, but we also played well enough where we felt so it keeps it's crazy. It keeps us motivated. Yeah. But, I don't know. He's frustrated because he's always trying to put together a string of wins and performances that give you the confidence that don't play out time. You can beat anybody, no matter who's matchup. Just haven't done it. I still have it. It gets a reset every night. We're still in the good playoffs. I mean, we're still in the playoffs. We're still in the chase with all this, bunched up it is. But just try to win the next game. That's all you can do. Like, nature of the NBA, you got to turn the page quickly and somehow find a collective mindset that we can win in Atlanta. Do it all over again after. That's all we're worried about the next 48 minutes. $38 and 5, 36 really tough minutes. So speaks for itself. I think he's starting to figure out his role, if that makes sense, in the way that he can impact their team, no matter how good teams are defending him. It's one of those you kind of have to think creatively because they have a very interesting group of guys that on both ends of the floor can play the game a lot of different ways. And one thing about Russ, you all know, no matter what people say about him or what how he's playing, he competes. They love that about him. But every night he shows up, plays hard. So that's something you can't teach. It's kind of a lost art.
Whew, that crypto.com arena Wi-Fi, a little shaky there. But watching and listening to what Steph Curry is saying, what can you read into regarding his frustration level?
Steph is someone who specializes in not letting himself get frustrated to the point where there's a sign of surrender. Mm-hmm. He's been through too much in not in his NBA career, but just getting to the NBA. With all the things he's dealt with, the rejection he felt as a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old. So for him, to get where he's gotten, he has to believe he can get wherever he wants to go. And this season, he's not getting where he wants to go. And he has no answers for it. And so what I sense from him is that he's just trying to maintain his own sort of, I won't say serenity, but his own sense of it's not over till it's over.
Okay.
And I understand that because it's not. And when you look at the Western Conference standings, yeah, the Warriors are far from dead. They're right there, but they're not playing the way they want to play, especially on the road. At home, no issues. On the road, they're playing like another team. And tonight they played better, than they have in many other games, but still, the result is the same. And that's what's frustrating. Steph knows that he put up 50 points tonight and 28 shots, and it didn't happen. It wasn't enough. And you saw him in the third quarter, all 12 minutes.
Yeah.
He hit the floor 3 or 4 times in that quarter.
Yes.
And so, and there was maybe we should play the entire fourth quarter. When you pour your soul into a 12-minute spell in the third quarter, and you score 21 of your team points, you need a breather. Mm-hmm. You can't go out there and play 12 more in the fourth.
Right.
Maybe Wilt could do. I don't know, but Wilt wasn't playing the way Steph plays.
Yep.
So
I saw an ESPN stat that Steph Curry was the first player to have 40 points with 0 shots on the free throw line so far. He got to the line 4 times. He missed 2 of them, by the way, too. But when you're attacking, attack, you're getting nothing as you're doing everything for your team. That's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, one of the signs of Steph sort of keeping his grip on frustration is the fact that he doesn't get a lot of calls. You know, there's been a couple of times when he's thrown his mouthpiece. But if you watch Steph over the course of a season, and you probably count dozens of calls that don't get a whistle, you know, that should get a call. Whoop, you just got fouled, nothing. Whoop, you just got fouled, nothing. Whoop, you just got fouled. And in a way, he's used to it. But
Still.
but exactly. In a way, he's used to it, but it's not like he feels like this is the way it should be. He still feels like it's, and just you never hear him really go off on it. You know, you don't hear him rip the referees. He doesn't do a Fred VanVleet, you know. So
Maybe in his head he does, but no, you're
Oh,
right. But you're right.
no doubt he does.
Publicly, Steph keeps it bottled up.
Yes, yes. So I think for him, he just needs to see some results. And at this point, I don't think he cares how it looks. Just win a game, even if we shoot 30%, win a game.
Yeah, win a game on the road,
Yeah.
9 straight losses. All right, something interesting for Draymond Green. He gets whistles against him, and that's his 16th technical. He got this in this game. That means if this tech is not rescinded, he will be suspended for the next game. That's against the Hawks. So take a look at what happened. It looked like Draymond, I actually maybe need to review this again too if I can see it. But yeah, Draymond talking it out, didn't agree with it. He got somebody in the head. Is
ball.
that the issue?
He just
Or
threw
tossing the ball at somebody in
he hit
frustration?
Russ on the head.
Okay, I thought there was something with the head. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Draymond seemed to indicate post-game that he feels like something will change about this call. What are the chances that the 16th tech might get rescinded?
Well, I mean, there are techs that get rescinded, you know, on a regular basis.
Jordan
but
Poole had one that got rescinded.
Yeah, it does happen recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one I don't think has a great chance of being rescinded because what Draymond did was he threw the ball at somebody. I mean, it was retaliatory. If you watch the entire play, Russ comes from behind Draymond and gives him a shove from behind. And obviously that got to Draymond. And so when the ball came through the rim after Zubac shot,
Gotcha.
he grabbed the ball and he just flung it at Russ. And so I understand Draymond wanting it to be rescinded, but I'm not optimistic that it will be.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
because when you throw the ball like that, it's kind of like, oh, that's what did it. And I don't think it was something Draymond said. Maybe something he said may not have helped, but I think when you throw the ball, usually when you throw the ball at somebody else, it's an automatic technical foul.
Okay, completely understand that. And then PG reacted and Russ reacted, so the referees are going to notice.
And then Marcus Morris got involved.
And
he got
flagrant too.
ejected because he grabbed Draymond and like it was a
non-basketball play above the
very
shoulders.
much non-basketball play, and he wound up.
Yeah.
So when you do that,
Okay.
you don't just get a technical foul; you get tickets to go home.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happened with Marcus Morris. So it was ugly there at the end of the first half.
Okay, so you guys also heard from Draymond on the postgame show, but we have bonus sound from Draymond. Take a listen.
Every team is different. You know, it's year to year you have to put that together, you know, and some years are more challenging than others. Some teams connect better than others. Some teams, you know, chemistry, your chemistry can be one of your strengths, you know, and you just have to figure that out year by year. It's different things that make that up yearly.
Have the Compton, the golden,
Huh?
the golden Compton, we still have them?
The golden,
Confident.
oh yeah, we're always confident.
You mentioned that you really enjoy watching Steph go off like that. What's the feeling like in the locker room after he goes off like that and you guys lose?
It sucks. Like, you know, you just try to figure out, you sit and think about what more could I have done to help. You know, when you get a guy going off like that, you have to find ways to capitalize on it, and we didn't tonight.
Before the game, Ty Lewis talked about your defensive IQ, especially out of timeouts, reading switches and different plays and stuff like that. How is your IQ level and reading the defense grown over the last couple of years?
I think, you know, the more I play, you just kind of see more. I think it's like anything in life. You know, the more you see things, the more accustomed you come to, the more accustomed you become with it. I think, you know, you also learn how to read and react better. You know, I think defense, like you want to see the plays before they happen. But that's a great team coached by a great coach. And so there's deception involved. And, you know, when it is, you try to be a step ahead of that. But if you're not, you still have to be able to read and react quick. And so I think, you know, the more comfortable you get, the more things you see, the more You know, it's like if I just read, I'm going to become a better reader. You know, you study basketball. You study these things. You watch. You know, I watch basketball for fun as well. You know, and so you just become more and more familiar with all the things that's happening out on the court and try to be ahead of it as opposed to reacting to what the defense is doing. But like I said, also understanding that when you're not ahead of it, you have to be able to react fast.
All right, thinking back to Draymond's comments against the Grizzlies where he said, I decide when I get a technical. I decide if I take the bait. And that felt a little bit retaliatory. You push me, I'm throwing the ball at you and shoot. Draymond, it's tough. I understand why you want to react and stand up for yourself. But when you have a 15th technical and you pick up your 16th, which means you'll be suspended for the next game if it's not rescinded, that's tough, and it doesn't end here because it's if you get an 18th technical or a 20th technical or a 22nd technical with 12 games left, this is a danger zone for
Every other technical
Draymond.
foul for this becomes a suspension.
Yeah.
And the fines get bigger. I don't think he's worth the fines, but but the suspension can hurt the team, and that's what you don't want to deal with. And so I think for Draymond, I mean, you know, we discussed this before, and you thought, you know, that there was a chance he could run across that 16th technical foul, and I said, nah, you know, he'll avoid it because he always has. And tonight, I think he earned it. You know, when you throw the ball at someone, it's hard for the ref to go, I didn't see that. It's really hard. But again, I mean, that's not why they lost the game. It might be why they lose the next game if they lose the next game. And that's what you got to worry about.
Yeah. All right, the Warriors shorthanded as they go to Atlanta. We need to talk about an additional injury update for the Warriors. Andre Iguodala, he's got a broken wrist. The details on that, plus what it might mean for Jonathan Kuminga going forward. That's next when Dubs Talk returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by FitAid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. FitAid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
We are up on YouTube. Tomas says lots of turnovers, lots of game fouls, no center in this one. Okay, a size advantage. Lots of misses on free throws. This makes it difficult to win games away from home. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of the recipe tonight. Although it was sort of interesting to me that Steve Kerr said after the game, the vibes are good right now. He said, hang on, he said, I'm not frustrated. I loved our effort.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think the effort was mostly good until the fourth quarter.
Okay.
Because rebounding is an effort thing. I mean, yeah, it's other parts of it, sure. But mostly it's effort. The early effort was good. I mean, you know, I think the Clippers missed their first 6 shots or something like that, you know. But then when the Clippers decided to play defense, the quarter changed. Yeah. And the Warriors scored 8 points in the first 3 minutes, and they scored 15 points over the last 9.5. Okay. That's defense.
That's defense.
So yeah, the Warriors wanted to have that quick start like they had in the last 2 home games, and they did. They had it, but they didn't keep it, and they lost it. And so from that point on, it was mostly playing from behind. Yeah, they caught them, but it was mostly playing from behind after that. And it's hard to play behind on the road. I know you've heard that before, but it's so true, especially when you got 2 teams that came into this game with tied identical records. Same conference, identical records, and the Warriors had a 2-1 series lead on these guys. So if the Warriors win this game, they have the tiebreaker. Yeah. So the Clippers really needed this game just to, you know. So now, yeah, they're in a tie. The Warriors still have a better conference record. So the Warriors are still technically ahead of the Clippers. Well, not with the game behind now, but they would be ahead of them if the records are even. Okay. At this point.
I got you. Hey everybody, welcome back to TopStock Live, brought to you by FitAid. So today, the Warriors announced that Andre Iguodala has a fractured left wrist. He's going into surgery next week. He heard it against the Suns. Andre has played 8 games for the Warriors this season. He was finally building up to that point where he wanted that runway into the postseason. Last time we saw him against the Suns, 16 minutes, he was a plus 19. How do you capture what Andre means to the Warriors and how big of a loss this is?
He's a connector. He's a guy that has a knack for making the team better every time he goes out there. Whether it's on offense, you know, he's not a big scorer, and he actually will shoot some bricks. But somehow the offense tends to run better when he's out there.
Yeah.
He's getting assists. He's getting hockey assists. He's putting guys in the right place. And so, on defense, he still has a way of making important plays at important times. So there really is no one on this team that has his unique skill set. Draymond, we all know he's a great defender, but Andre is different in the sense that he's more on the perimeter, and he's more likely to make a single play on an isolation situation than Draymond is, because Draymond doesn't get a lot of isolation shots, opportunities. Andre is 39 years old, so guys want to try that old man, you know.
Yeah.
And Andre, if you try Andre at this stage, it's a risk.
Okay.
It's a risk. He might stop you. So when you look at what he brings the team tangibly in that regard, and intangibly in the locker room, and just what he does for these young guys, you don't have anybody else that brings that. So the Warriors are hoping that he will be around the team, and he probably will be around the team no matter what, once he has the surgery. But right now, the risk is such a tricky thing. It could be 3 or 4 weeks or 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, that's
That's a why, and so that's why they're not really at this point sort of tipping their hand as to what they're going to do roster-wise, because they don't really know how long he's going to be out. Now, once the surgery is complete and they know what's in there and what it looks like and what the recovery is going to look like,
Then
they'll have
they
a much
can-
better idea. So, okay, he won't be back until this may be it for him,
Yeah.
or he might be back sometime in April.
yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you decide what to do.
I really hope this isn't the last time that we see.
You don't want to go out like that.
Heck no.
No,
Heck
I
no.
mean,
But you know what? When you're talking about a guy who's playing in his 19th season, he knows the personnel. So when he's on the floor, he can actually call out, hey, you need to be here. Like the defensive strategy. He tells guys where they need to be. There's accountability there. When he's on the floor, you're very it's not likely that he's going to have a turnover there. He's just a stabilizer. He's an organizer, a facilitator. So it is a loss, even though he's only played 8 games this season. Now, what does this mean for Jonathan Kuminga? Because you're down Andre, you're down Wiggins, you're down GP2. So the Warriors are very thin at that wing position. What does this mean for JK? It could kind of be an opportunity.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, he wants to guard the best player, and at times tonight, and he was out there guarding Kawhi and guarding some Paul George here and there. So, and Kawhi is such a hard matchup for anybody, because Kawhi is so strong, and his shot, that line drive shot, but it has a way of going in when it needs to. So, and I thought that what JK did was, he made the effort. He was out there giving his best. He had a couple of bad fouls, but I think for him this is an opportunity, because he's going to get more minutes, and not that he's going to steal minutes that Andre would have had, but they need his minutes. But in a game like this, where Jonathan Kuminga is probably, one of the best athletes on the floor.
Yes.
You need him to be more than just a guy who guards somebody on the perimeter. You don't need a whole bunch of buckets, but a few buckets. What you got, tonight, okay, he ended up tonight with 8 points. That's fine. That's fine. But the no rebounds thing is tough. He's not going to get many assists, because he had 2 assists. He had 4 fouls. He had more fouls than he had assists. He had more fouls than he had, and so rebounds by 4, because he had no rebounds. And that's the hard. You look at JK and you think, how can a guy like that have 4 rebounds? Well, have no rebounds. That's the part where you're the Warriors, and they've stressed this with him, like you said. So he's going to be important for this team wherever it goes over these final 12 games.
All right, it's like, all right, young fella, there's been no secret that he's wanted to play more meaningful minutes. Here is his opportunity.
Tell us what you got.
And we'll be keeping an eye on JK. All right, also have to keep an eye on the schedule and the standings. You know the drill. We need to add it all up when TopStock Live, brought to you by Fit Aid, returns.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
We're back. Hey, everybody. All right, Andy is asking, Kerith and Monte, do you all figure they're about to sign Lamb, given that he is traveling with the team and Andre is injured? I do think there might be some hand forcing here, and they haven't signed any of the two-way guys yet because they save money for each day that they don't. So some of this is penny pinching, or just making the decision on the last day possible to do it.
Well, and I don't know that in this game, I don't know that in this game, you say, well, if they had Anthony Lamb, they would have won. I don't,
No.
So I think at this point, you look at what you have, and like I would say, that Ty Jerome becomes more valuable when Steph Curry is not available. Steph's available and he's balling. And so that's where you look at other guys and you say, okay, right now Moses Moody is getting the minutes that maybe Ty Jerome would have gotten before. And maybe some of the minutes that Anthony Lamb would have gotten before, And so Moses played 10 minutes tonight. Didn't do a whole lot, He had a couple of assists, had 3 points. But I think for the most part, if you're the Warriors, you want to wait until you see what the outcome is with Andre's surgery.
Yeah.
At that point, you say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. They will do something, but they don't know what right now.
Okay, that's the 3 weeks versus 3 months kind of decision that they just don't have yet with Andre's injury. Okay, we have some comments about Coach Kerr tonight. Carlos saying he's had better coaching days. I mean, I've only left 20 seconds for this conversation, but some of this, is it readiness for his team? Does he need to be a part of this conversation?
Maybe he's so you can get him ready at home, but not on the road. I mean, it's just when I hear that, I think that's not a good excuse. I mean, maybe there's some issues there, but I don't think that's it.
Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to TopStock Live. The Warriors are on a 5-game road trip. Monte expressed how important the first game is. It's an L for the Dubs. Now you've got a back-to-back coming up at the Hawks, to be determined if Draymond plays in that game. Then you have the Grizzlies on Saturday. Rockets and Mavericks follow for the Texas part of that trip. Okay.
I believe that the toughest game on this road trip was the one they played tonight.
Okay.
Okay, it's tougher than the one they'll play in Memphis without Ja.
Okay.
Because the Clippers, the Warriors had won the season series, 2-1, had the edge.
Yeah.
And so for the Clippers, they had huge incentive to win this game on their own court. But I think the other 4 games are all winnable.
Okay.
But the Warriors have to play defense for all 4 quarters, and they can't afford the little slip-ups they had tonight in such important areas as free throw shooting, second chance points off turnovers, and rebounding when the game's on the line.
Okay, Monte has a list. I kind of have a feeling what he's writing tonight. Hey, I want to take a walk down memory lane because the last game against the Hawks, it was the first game after the new year, January 2nd, a double overtime win for the Warriors. It was at Chase Center. That was a massive Clay game. He had 54 points in 46 minutes, and I remember we were celebrating the fact that 46 minutes felt huge for Clay, given his injury. Yep, and then the next one against the Grizzlies, we know that Ja Morant is suspended for the next 8 games, so he will not play in that one, obviously. But yeah, back-to-back coming. Hopefully no more road woes coming. The Warriors have to prove it.
4 more chances.
That's the thing. Thanks for watching TopStock Live, brought to you by FitAid. Oh, hi. I was about to take my microphone.
Thanks for reminding us.
Thanks for reminding us. I was like, well, see you later. What I forgot to mention at the close of the show is that if you like watching the video versions of podcasts, our conversation with Steph Curry debuts tonight. So you'll be able to find that. I like seeing the facial expressions when people answer questions.
Yes,
Yeah, you can kind of tell the state of mind people are in and if they're having a good time. So yes, please watch for that on YouTube. The video version of our conversation with Steph.
So how do you feel about the next 4 games?
Well, I made that prediction. I think they would go 3-2 on this road trip.
Okay.
I got my little world rocked, though. I thought for sure they would win this game. Just to open, just to prove that everything they've been talking about on the road, they could remedy.
Yeah.
That they
this
wanted
was the tone-setting game.
Yes.
And they didn't set a tone
yes.
that they want.
So how do I feel? I feel like the Hawks game would be a win. I'd love to see the Grizzlies game be a win. Yeah, so it kind of depends what you get there.
They can beat the Hawks.
The Rockets are 15th in the West. If the Warriors take care of business, I'm not going to say any win is guaranteed because we've seen who they've lost to this season. Mavs, are you going to have Luka and Kyrie healthy at the same time? There's just a lot of question marks to this one, but sure, I'll stay with 3-2.
I think they can still go 3 of the next 4.
Okay.
Because I think this was the most difficult game that they will face on the road trip. First of all, it's the first one. The stakes because these 2 teams were tied, literally, and LA was at home. So, but I think they can beat the Hawks. Memphis is going to be tough, but Memphis is a beatable team because they sometimes will beat themselves. Yeah. Houston, that better be a win. And then you finish in Dallas. in Dallas is a place. The Warriors have had some tough games
They've
there.
had some
in
demons there.
Dallas.
Steph specifically actually has had some weird ones.
In that building, American Airlines Center there,
Yep.
it's been tough for the Warriors off and on for these past few years. So I think the biggest lift they could possibly get between now and next week is Andrew Wiggins coming back in the next few days. Now, I don't know I have no idea that's going to happen or when it's
Sure.
going to happen.
Yeah.
But if it does, I think that'd be huge. They could really use him.
They could, but he's been away for so long that
He would need a little ramp up.
a big ramp.
Yeah,
There's
I mean,
12
because he
games
hasn't played
left.
basketball.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't picture him sitting around eating donuts. But
No, but being away from the game and game speed,
Yeah, it's
especially, and we don't know what's happening with him, but
Right.
like if your heart is heavy too,
Yes.
that impacts things.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point they're just hoping to get him back before the end of the season
Yeah.
and give him some time to sort of get ready for the postseason. And then that becomes more important now that Andre is going to be out for at least a period of time.
All right, looks like Andre will remain on that road trip with the surgery, or at least for now, we saw him, on the bench for this game, and surgery scheduled for next week. Okay, now it's time to say goodnight. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you later.